Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on bjpen.com. I'm your host, Cole Sheldon, episode 73. We got a stacked lineup, probably one of the most stacked lineups we have ahead of UFC 273. First up, we're going to be joined by the featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski, to preview his main event title fight against Korean Zombie and kind of how this one came together. Remember, he was supposed to have the trilogy fight against Holloway like a day after it's reported. Holloway pulls out, Zombie's quick to jump on. We kind of talked about how all that came together and him kind of slowly becoming in that featherweight go talk. He's beaten all the former featherweight champs other than McGregor, who will probably never come back to featherweight. He thinks if he can rack up probably 3-4 more title defenses, he'd be right there in that conversation. And that's kind of his goal right now. We're then going to be joined by Mackenzie Dern to preview her fight against Tecia Torres. This is a really intriguing matchup. Tecia Torres on a good winning streak, has won 3 in a row after the 4 straight losses where she lost to Andrade, Joanna, Weili Zhang, and Marina Rodriguez. Mackenzie Dern coming off her first UFC main event, which was a loss to Marina Rodriguez. She's said she's now fully healthy. She believes she has what it takes to get Torres down and get that submission or a TKO win. We're then going to be joined by Ian Garry to preview his fight against Darian Weeks. The future is back on the program. Ian now training at Stanford full-time, coming off his UFC debut where he knocked out Jordan Williams with a second left in the first round. Darian Weeks, he's 5-1 as a pro UFC debut. He went the distance with Brian Barberina on short notice. Really good stuff with Ian, who has full confidence in himself that he's going to run through him and kind of just show everyone that he is the future and the real deal. We're then going to be joined by Eddie Cha, who's Korean Zombies head coach, to kind of get some insight onto Korean Zombies camp, how it's going, what kind of they've been doing to prepare, but really good stuff with Eddie about Korean Zombies camp and Korean Zombie hopefully becoming a UFC champion for them in that gym. We're then going to be joined by Jairzinho Rozenstruik to preview his fight against Marcin Tybura. Rozenstruik back in action, lost to Curtis Blades last September. He's just 2-3 in his last 5, but with knockout wins over Augustus Sakai and Junior Dos Santos, he knows he has all the power to knock out Tybura. He thinks he can defend the takedowns, keep it standing, and eventually find his chin and get that knockout win. We're then going to be joined by Vinc Pichel to preview his fight against Marco Madsen. Vinc Pichel is like a sneaky 14-2. He doesn't fight a whole lot, about a fight a year, be coming off that Austin Hubbard win last August. Before that, beat Jim Miller in August 2020. He's has 2 losses to Rustam Habalayev and Gregor Gillespie, both wrestlers, which is why he really likes this fight, because he wants to show everyone how much better his wrestling is, and he thinks he can really stuff the takedowns, and once he stuffs the takedowns, he's going to make Madsen quit, and he'll get that knockout win. And then we close things out talking to Jared Vanderaa to preview his fight against Alexei Oleinik. Jared took this fight on short notice. Oleinik was supposed to fight Ilir Latifi. He's on that 2-fight losing streak. He kind of thinks he's fighting for his job, and he thinks he has all the tools to beat Oleinik. He said he's not scared to go to the ground to him. He's a black belt himself. He says he can easily get that ground pound TKO on the ground. He thinks he can get one along the fence, but he has all the confidence he's not only going to win this fight, but win it by knockout. Well, thank you all for listening, though. Be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by the UFC featherweight champ who's looking to defend his belt again, Alex Volkanovski. Alex, how's it going, man?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Obviously, kind of a weird one to get this done. You were booked for UFC 272 in March against Holloway. Then literally like a day or two after the fight comes out, it's reported Max is out, and then Zombie steps in, and then you're moved to April. Like, what kind of was that week like when all that was happening?
Yeah, man, it was bit confusing in a sense, because I didn't know exactly what was going on. Because even when they announced the fight, I thought that was a little premature. And then I was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect them to announce that so quick. And then all of a sudden, there was an injury. Like the next day, I'm getting told that. I was like, what? Like, man, it was a bit wild. Then we got told it was going to be Zombie. And then they moved it back, and just, it was the whole thing was a bit confusing, but it doesn't matter. I'm still happy with the date, and as long as I fit 3 fights this year, I'm going to be happy. So I wanted to start as early as I could, and April's still early enough, so it's all good.
And then after the fight with Zombie gets announced, Max comes out and says he's healthy and he'll be the backup. Like, what you kind of make that, because then he didn't really have to pull out right away.
Yeah, man. Again, like I said, it was all confusing. I don't know exactly what happened. I was wondering why they wouldn't, just push it back if that was going to be the case. I don't even know if that really is the case. I know the UFC announced that Brett Okamoto or something like that. So who knows the full story of it all anyway. But man, there's nothing you can do about it. Again, it was a little confusing and frustrating because again, I just want to fight. But at the same time, I'm still able to fight. And I get to fight someone like Zombie, which is something that I've always wanted to do anyway. Just knowing like he's been around forever. He's been the top guys. I've expected to fight him sooner or later. There was a couple of times where he was number one contender and like he was just there and he was calling me out. He was even saying some things. You know what I mean? So it was this close to happening, then it didn't. But then this opportunity, happened for him. So it's pretty good because again he's a big draw and he's an exciting fighter, and this is going to make an exciting fight. So I can't wait to go out there and just do my thing.
Yeah, that's the thing a lot of people don't really know is you two were kind of angling to fight one another like a couple of years back. But do you just think timing makes perfect sense now that it's for the belt? And obviously both of you guys are much bigger names than what you were a few years ago.
Yeah, man, exactly. It's just obviously for the Brian Ortega for that number one contender spot, and he pulled up short. He went back and did what he had to do. Went there and had a pretty unreal performance in his last one. And there was an injury, and that's why you stay ready and stay active. You never know what comes your way. So that's how I was, going into the title fights and whatnot. Shooting through the ranks. I always wanted to stay ready and stay active, and if an opportunity came about, I could take it, and that's exactly what's happened. But again, this is it's a bit of a legacy fight as well. With Zombie, as I said, he's been around, he's been at the top for so long. You know what I mean? And to be like one of the top contenders for what, over 10 years, it seems like. It seems like forever. He's been in the game and he's still right up there. So he's finally going to get another shot. But I'm just going to have to prove again that I'm just too much. You know what I mean? I'm on a whole nother level, and man, my confidence is on just a whole nother high right now, man. Like literally, I just feel feeling too strong, too fit, and too clever, too knowledgeable, and what I'm seeing and doing right now is just on a whole nother level. So again, I'm going to give Zombie that respect. He knows how to finish fights, but we know I'm hard to finish, and I'm just expecting to go out there and do my thing and really set a statement. But this is going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, and the thing with Zombie too, I was looking today, he's headlined every single one of his past 8 fights, which not many people can do that to be main events for that long. But with Zombie, like he's called the Zombie for a reason. Like he can take a lot of punishment, doesn't really get finished. Like, how do you kind of see this one playing out? Just because only select few guys have been able to actually get him out of there.
I mean, he's tough. Again, that's why they call him the Zombie. But I just think there's going to be too many holes for me to capitalize on. And again, what I'm seeing right now, I just think I'm going to capitalize on everything that's in front of me. And again, that's no knock on Zombie. It's just where I am right now. I've already proved in my last fights like where I'm at, but I just feel like I'm on a whole nother level again. So I think everyone's going to be, again, they shouldn't be surprised because, time and time again, I've proved myself. But in saying that, I really do think people are going to really be, it's going to be even more of an eye opener for them. Obviously, that last one was really fun, but I'm expecting this one to be exciting, and I'm expecting to go out there and really put hands on him and really do work. I feel like I can finish him anywhere. And again, that's not a knock on him. It's just purely where I'm at. As I just said, where I'm at, I'm just on a whole nother level now. I feel like I can finish him on the ground, submit, ground and pound, knock him out on the feet, you name it. I feel like I could finish him anywhere. So, that's exactly what I want to go out there and do. I want to go and, show my level by just going out there and outperforming these guys by a long shot, and I'm going to show that there's a big gap. And, I really want to prove that. You know what I mean? I don't have to prove that to people, but, I know that myself, and I'm going to go out there and show that pretty much for myself. Everyone can watch, and that'd be good. But, I'm sick of proving things to people. I don't need to do that no more. I think I've proved myself. But right now, it's just I know where I'm at, and I believe where he's at is just not on my level, and I'm going to go and show that.
Do you think your last fight, though, kind of made people like respect you more? Because after you beat Holloway the first time, it was, oh, he just beat him once, wait till the rematch. Then the rematch happened. It was, oh, Holloway won that fight. Like Alex isn't the real champ, all that stuff. But I think your last performance, how you kind of dominated Ortega and even overcame that adversity. Like, do you think that's the fight that kind of put all that Holloway stuff behind, and now you're kind of getting the respect you deserve?
Look, man, obviously that last one was good, but really, all I want to say is like, who cares? You know, people are going to always say stuff. You know what I mean? And no matter what you do, and you're always going to have haters. You know what I mean? And that's just a part of the game. You know, and I'm really starting to get used to all that now. You know what I mean? It probably did affect me before, like it used to affect me, and that's what I mean. I felt like I had something to prove, always had something to prove. You know what I mean? And it's exhausting. You know, why waste energy on that when they're just, no matter what you do, you're going to get haters no matter what. And I've finally come to realize that. And yeah, I don't need to prove nothing to no one. You know, I'm going to go out there do my thing, and that's for me. You know what I mean? Just because I know I can and I'm going to do it. And you know what I mean? And I know at the end of the day, the reason why I really want to do it is not to impress people. Obviously, I'm going to impress people. Yeah, that's cool. But me going out there, doing my thing and showing them a whole nother level and going out there and knocking these guys out or putting on a big performance, you know, that means money. That means legacy. That means, you know, all that type of stuff, success. So that's what I want out of it. I don't have nothing to prove anymore, you know what I mean? So if people want to say stuff, that's fine, you know what I mean? I've proved myself time and time again. And people are, you know, obviously jumped on board now. It might have taken a while for them to jump on board, but they have. And for the ones that haven't, that's all good, man. I don't hate them. Let them hate, but they'll jump on board soon. But again, after this one, you're going to see me on a whole nother level and a whole nother high, and everything, you know, is just going to rise. Stocks and you name it, you know, money. We're talking everything. You know, it's all going to come with it. But you know, there's just not letting it get in your head. And I will admit right now to you that it used to get in my head. You know, I feel like that's why, you know, I've always felt like I had something to prove. Always, you know, everything I did was purely you know, like again, like something I had to prove. But right now, I don't need to prove it to the haters. I'm gonna prove it to myself and to the guys that are riding with me. You know, what I mean, that's all that matters. For the haters, if they want to hate, that's all good. No dramas. But yeah, it definitely has changed. But I'm really looking forward to just getting in there, man. I'm excited. You know, again, I feel like I'm on a whole nother level. I just want to show that. I want to go out there and I want that full crowd again, man. Fighting in front of a full crowd again, and our main event, you name it, it was incredible. And I just want to get back in there and put on a show, entertain.
I also think part of the reason why maybe fans don't give you respect there is because you're so good at everything, where you're not just like this one punch knockout guy, like say like a McGregor or something, where everyone goes, oh, you just got to watch out for this left-hander. You're not just this like dominant wrestler. It's just that you're so good everywhere that people just can't be like, oh, you got to watch out for his like knockout ability. Where I think that's kind of where you get overlooked, is because you're just so good at everything. And there's not like one thing that's like better than anything else in your game.
Yeah, man. Well, that's exactly right. Well-rounded, right? And there's layers and levels, and you know what I mean. I feel like I can take it. Like obviously, I've got a good one-punch knockout in me as well, but I'm not the type of guy that's just going to go looking for that one punch. And if I land it good, but if I get one landed on me, unlucky. That's not how I fight. You know, I'm not stupid. You know, we fight clever, and we use that fight IQ, and you know, if we want to, you know, not take that damage. You know what I mean? So if I can punch someone and not get hit, that's the whole point. But in saying that, right now, like especially after the last one, you know, I just feel like what I'm seeing right now, even if they are landed, you know, they're not landing flush. You know, I'm always rolling with the punches and things like that. So that leaves a lot more opportunities for me to really put it in on them. And like I said, man, I'm just excited to go out there and put on a show. It doesn't mean I'll do anything stupid, but at the same time, I want to entertain. I want to go out there and put hands on that zombie because, again, I respect the dude. He's been around. This is a legacy fight. Again, as I said, he's been in the top forever, but he has said some things, and I remember him. And I can't wait to go out there and do my thing, not only to raise me, you know, get them stocks rising every time I get in there and fight, but you know, make that money and maybe get a bit of a payback for some of the things he said as well, or his management, whoever was on his Twitter and whatnot saying them things. Maybe I can get a bit of revenge there as well. But mate, I'm just eager to get in there.
What's it like headlining this card too, back in Jacksonville, like a main event, and then you look at this card like from top to bottom, like this is probably the best card they've done this year. Well, easily the best card and probably one of the biggest ones they'll do this year, just in name value.
Yeah, man, 100%. It's a stack card from, like you said, top to bottom. So it's going to be exciting fights. So really, really looking forward to it, man. The headline is unreal, and but man, I'm just going to go out there, and obviously everyone's going to put on a show, but I want to go and steal the show. I want to finish that night off with a bang, and just prove that I'm the best. You know what I mean? I'm going for that GOAT status. Not only in the featherweight division, I want that GOAT status of the whole UFC. You know what I mean? So that's when I say sky's the limit, man. There's a lot of goals that I want to accomplish. I want to take out. So going out there and taking out Zombie and putting him away is definitely going to get me to where I want to be. So that's exactly what I want to do April 9th.
How far away do you think you are from being like considered the best ever featherweight? Because you've beat Aldo, you beat Holloway twice, and like to me, I just think it's a couple more title defenses, and then you're kind of right there. Especially because you're undefeated in the UFC featherweight. Like no one's been able to beat you.
Man, that's what it is. You just need them defenses. Obviously, I've taken out all the top guys, right? And so that is gonna stick. But after a few more defenses, I think not even a few. It's not long. I'm talking this year. Even after this one, you're going to see my name's already up there, obviously for pound #1. But I mean, I want that status. You know what I mean? Obviously, you've got guys that are kicking ass as well. But I want all these. I want to accomplish all these goals. That pound for pound #1, that GOAT status, featherweight division, all that type of stuff. And to do so, you need defenses. And I haven't been as active as I'd like to be, but this year I do want to be that active. And I want to start taking out all these guys that are next in line. And that's when you're going to see. Obviously, when you get that goat status, and when people start throwing out all that, and not only your fans and all that. Even your haters aren't even going to be able to deny it. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking to do. It's not too far away though. But in saying that, I've got a Zombie in front of me. I just need to go out there and perform, and that's exactly what I plan on doing.
And are you gonna head out to City Kickboxing for a bit of this, or is it all in Australia? Because from what I've gathered, like it seems like you can get out there a bit more easier now.
No, we can't go there yet. Australian citizens can't go to New Zealand. New Zealand citizens can come to Australia and back. They can
Oh,
come and go.
that's it.
So the boys were just here. So we just had Eugene, Blood Diamond, Carlos Ulberg, Carl Van Roon. We had a heap of the boys from City Kickboxing here at Freestyle Fighter Gym. So they were with us the last couple of weeks, which was good. Bringing some good energy, and it was good to catch up with the boys. And we're mate, like I said, I'm in good nick, so we obviously keep in contact and all that type of stuff anyway, but, we've got a good team here. We've got a lot of guys that have come and travel to be with us to make sure camp goes smoothly, and we've got a solid camp of guys with us. And, again, and that knowledge is always there. Obviously, with my coach, Joe Lopez, he's always keeping an eye on everything, but, we still talk to your Craig Joneses, your Eugene Behrmans, and, Brad Riddell's. We're still obviously communicating and breaking down our opponents and whatnot, and things that we can do. And, they're seeing my sparring footage and all that type of stuff. So everything's pretty much the same, just in a different location. But like I said, things are going really well. And, man, we can't wait. Everyone that's obviously watched me train, they're like, man, this is going to be a good one. Everyone knows I'm in great nick. So we're expecting to really put on a show.
Just a few more things. You mentioned you want to be active this year, so you get past Zombie. Like, who do you think would be next? Like, obviously Max is out there, but then there's guys that you haven't fought, like a Josh Emmett, like a Calvin Cater, a Yair is kind of linked to Brian. If he wins and he's like a fresh guy, like, do you think it's that trilogy with Max, or do you prefer one of those fresh faces for you?
Look, man, as I was saying to you before, I was writing into a lot of what people say and all this type of stuff way too much. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be upfront. I'm getting deep with you here. But that stuff, I'm done with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I don't need to prove anything. I feel like I was the one chasing that trilogy more than Max was. You know what I mean? Like the UFC obviously wanted, and then you got him talking about money fights, and he not even really wanting it. And it was like I was like, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? So it was more me. You know what I mean? And if I'm not going to talk anyone into it. If they don't want to fight, then don't fight. I've already proved it twice, no matter what anyone says. You know what I mean? So we'll see what the UFC say. I'm going to go out there, worry about Zombie, and we'll see what's next. But you're not going to see me going chasing anyone. Whoever's the next in line, and the UFC put that put that name in front of me and my team agrees, we're going to go out there and do it. That's it, plain and simple. So I can't tell you exactly what's next, but we all know I'm not scared to fight whoever it is. So whoever the UFC says and whoever we think is best, that'll be who it is. So we'll see. Obviously, it was unfortunate we couldn't do that trilogy. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like I said, it seemed like a whole heap of a mess. Maybe there's more to the story that we don't know. But we'll see. Again, I'm over that. I got Zombie to worry about. I know Zombie thinks he's going to be taking my head off and ready to go out there and try and do his thing, but he's going to be for a rude shock. So I'm going to go out there, do that, and then we'll see who's next. But I just want these contenders to just fight, go out there and do their thing, which is good to see that we've got a few fighters. I think I've seen maybe Ortega and Garry Rodriguez. Do you know is that confirmed? Is that a fight? I don't know if that's
They both said they've agreed to it. They're just waiting on contracts for the summer, for June or July. They were saying.
You know what I mean? You're getting these guys, these contenders. That's what sort of made it hard, where there wasn't guys really fighting. It was a sort of a bit of a. Even though we've got so many contenders, they're just. I feel like they're all like one fight away. But you go out there and you start fighting each other. You know, say Zabit comes back and fights. Rodriguez gets a win. You know, all these guys. You know, even Kader. You know, going out there getting a win. Everyone's going to be saying that's the guy and that's the guy. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. There's still a little bit of time till I fight, and we'll see what fights are scheduled. But again, I want to fight as soon as possible. So we'll see who's even available. You know, whether it's July, August, or something like that. We'll see. But as I told you, I want to fight regularly, so and stay active this year, and we'll see who it is.
What was it like too when Holloway came out? Giga was talking all this stuff about how you were scared of him and like you wouldn't wait to see his fight, and then he goes out and loses. Like, what you kind of make of that whole thing?
Well, look, that's the thing is obviously you want to play that card. You go out there and you want to start barking and build some hype and talk the trash and all that type of stuff. All right, you know what I mean. You know, everyone thinks that's the only way to go about it. You know, there were some guys that did it pretty respectfully, and there were some guys that literally thought trash talking, or they literally thought they deserved it. I don't know what it was. You know, that's what surprised me the most, that these guys literally thought that these title fights were just going to be given to them and handed to them when it wasn't deserved. You know what I mean? Which is disappointing, really, to know that some of these contenders think, you know, that's their mentality. You know what I mean? And that's why I said it, even straight after I started hearing all these guys start saying stuff, you know, even Rodriguez, you know, expecting the shot, even though we just lost, expecting the title shot just handed to him. And same as Giga, you're still fighting, wait until you fight. You know, don't show disrespect, not only to me, to Zombie, and to Kader, you know what I mean? The disrespect that was there, and to go out there and lose was like, it's just embarrassing. But I mean, as I said, man, straight after that, the mentality these guys have, you know, I mean, these guys want shit handed to them. So I can imagine what they're like in the training room. They ain't fucking busting their ass like me. They ain't putting themselves in these uncomfortable positions. You can see they don't like uncomfortable positions. You can see they want to, you know, they want shit given to them. You know, they want yes men around them. You know, this is the type of mentality they have. You really think they're the type of guys that are going to take me out? Look, they only got a puncher's chance, and that's it. And you know what I mean? And that's just facts, mate. You listen to what they're saying and the way they're carrying on, and that's just the way it is. And look, the reason why I sound like I just don't get it. It's just because it goes against exactly what I'm all about. Everyone that knows me knows that, you know, I go out and I bust my ass and I do, you know, I'm not the most athletically gifted guy. I worked hard to get to where I am, and I still need to work hard to stay where I am. You know what I mean? So it's it ain't easy. It ain't easy. It wasn't easy for me to get to where I am and even to stay where I am. But I'm putting the work in. And again, what I know now is not going to be enough in 2 months' time. These guys are just cruising and hoping shit's going to be given to them. So I know that while I'm evolving, that mountain you know, these guys are trying to climb this mountain, but they're barely climbing. They're not even trying to climb. They're hoping that they teleport to the top or some shit. You know, and I'm telling you, this mountain's climbing higher and higher while they're just fucking sitting there. So they've got a way to go to get to where I'm at. And as I said, like, What I know now won't be enough next month or 2 months' time. So I'm going to be busting my ass. I'm going to be studying. My team's studying to get me to a whole nother level, and that's just what I'm all about. You know what I mean? I constantly talk about it. You know what I mean? That's what's made me champion. That's this is the mentality you need to have if you want to be the best. If you want to be the GOAT, you need to think like this. You need to do the hard work. You need to be used to. You need to accept being uncomfortable. All that type of stuff. And just these guys ain't doing it. And you know what I mean. And that's what upsets me the most. The fact that these guys are trying to climb this mountain without even trying to climb, and it's just annoying.
Just last question, like you get 3 title defenses here. Like it seems like you'd mostly clear out the division. So have you ever thought about maybe moving up to 155? Like, do you kind of see that ever in your future?
Yeah, definitely, Ken. Like I'm used to the bigger boys as well. Obviously, I've had a career in middleweight, welterweight, and lightweight, so I'm used to the bigger guys. And if you look at a lot of my training partners, most of my training partners are usually a bit heavier. So you know what I mean. So that I'm used to the bigger guys, and that's something that's definitely something I'm looking at. And depends again if I'm going to have a lot of these contenders sitting back and not fighting each other, hoping they get a title shot or whatever it is, injuries and whatnot, and the division's a little stale, maybe we can move up. But I mean, if these guys are going out there doing their thing, I want to take out these contenders, get that GOAT status, you know what I mean? Number 1 pound for pound, then be the double champ, then the GOAT of the UFC, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all that type of stuff. So, but right now, I've got my division to worry about, so I'll do that. I've got Zombie to worry about, and we'll see what's next. You know what I mean? So again, I can't make any promises this year, but I'm looking in the near future, definitely moving up.
Well, Alex, I appreciate the time. And for anyone that hasn't seen it, Cooking with Volk got to be one of the best things going on social media.
Yeah, man. Actually, I'm due for one soon. Actually, I'm on a diet. I might have to do some weight cutting type of meals. So stay tuned. I'll have one soon.
Well, Alex, thank you again for the time. I appreciate it. All right, we're joined by UFC strawweight Mackenzie Dern, who's back in action. Mackenzie, how's it going?
It's going good. Just in camp, getting pretty close to the fight. So I'm excited to get back in there on April 9th.
Yeah, first thing I want to touch on is on the main card of UFC 273, and that obviously means back in front of fans. Like, how excited are you to be back fighting in front of fans again?
Oh man, I'm so excited. I mean, I had a good run in the Apex with just just the coaches. It was definitely like a different experience. I think was really good for me. I had 4 or 5 fights in the Apex with no crowd. So it's definitely different to fight kind of like a little bit similar to sparring. You really hear like your coaches, you hear everything, you kind of, so it's good to kind of pass through certain things like, okay, I can hear what my opponent's coaches are saying. They're telling her to throw like a left, like a jab cross hook, and just like kind of stay focused and work through that whole different like mentality part of it. But yeah, I mean, just having the crowd and those moments where you just need to bring it out, that heart, show that heart, that the crowd is what really brings it out of you, with the cheering and everything like that. I was missing it so much. And Jacksonville's crazy. So I think there'll be a lot of great fights.
Yeah, I was looking. The last time you fought in front of the crowd would have been the Rebus fight, which was in 2019. Like, it's been longer than most fighters for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that was my loss, like one of my losses. So definitely, and it was in Tampa. I mean, it's not Jacksonville, but it was in Florida. So when they told me, "Hey, you're back in Florida," I'm like, okay, let me make up my last loss that I had there and put on a great show for the crowd. So I'm excited.
And when you got the name Tisha Torres, like, how excited are you for that? Because she's like a legend of this division. Like, she's fought everyone. Like, everyone knows who Tisha Torres is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tisha's name has been kind of coming up for a while, even before her last couple of fights and before my last couple of fights, but it never like really fell through. Um, they ended up always a different person or a different option that was better at the moment came up, or for her or for me. So yeah, finally to be able to fight her. I mean, she's been on a great roll recently. And yeah, I mean, like you said, she's fought, Zhang Wei Li, she's fought Rose, she's fought all the top fighters, so I think it's definitely going to be a good opportunity for me to make up some mistakes that I made in my last fight, and just kind of see where I stand, and see what I can do in the division and how I can do with the top girls that she did. But she's a tough fighter, man. I don't think she's ever been finished. A lot of her fights go to decisions, so she's definitely like an experienced fighter, and I'm trying to gain that experience now, So I think it's a cool matchup, and yeah, it'll be good.
Just quickly, I want to touch on your last fight, like first main event. Obviously, didn't go your way, but a really exciting fight. Like, what you kind of take away from that one?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight. I really felt Marina's experience, in the her stand up. Not that she was, the toughest fight I ever fought or anything like that, but I just really felt like her experience as in, okay, to know like, okay, I'm down one round, I can take the second round off, and I can kind of recover in the third and fourth, because then like pointing, I could just see her working strategically in the fight, and me, I felt like I had to really like control my emotions and still kind of take away from being such an emotional fighter, as in like you just want to get to the person and finish the fight, and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, it was good. I'm happy that like I was able to do a lot, kind of show a lot on the ground. Unfortunately, I didn't get the finish, the submission. So I know I was missing. I was kind of off on my game. I shouldn't lose some positions on the ground like that. But yeah, I mean, I think we had fun on the ground. I was kind of working through a lot of different positions on the ground. I think, striking wise, I mean, obviously she was out striking me, but I mean, I didn't get knocked out or anything like that. And I mean, we took home fight of the night. So that was my first fight of the night bonus. So I'm really happy about that. But hopefully next time I'll be on the winning side of it and not the losing part.
Yeah, even though you lost, like I thought your striking looked a lot better than it has in the past couple fights. Which, like, how much better do you think it has gone, especially working with Jason Perillo, who's one of the best striking coaches in the sport?
Oh, I mean, it's gone so much. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that was like a little bit frustrating about that fight, because I mean, Marina's a great striker. She's long, she has great footwork. So I mean, just to be able to like kind of me, a jiu-jitsu girl, be able to hang in and kind of like, be able to hang in there with her, and just I feel like we have so much to show. In that fight, I didn't really get to show how much we really have improved. So it's like, man, Perilla's just been helping me so much. And I can tell even he gets frustrated a little bit, but frustrated like in a good way. Like, man, he sees all the potential. He sees all the work we've been putting in, and he sees how much I've been getting better. But unfortunately, that last fight, I wasn't able to show it, but it's coming, it's coming. Just have patience, But I think people will be really surprised, like, okay, a jiu-jitsu girl that's able to fight standing up like that too. And of course, I'm never going to take away from my ground game. I think that's for me to have a long career, and not get too much like damage and broken noses and hit to my, too much damage to my face and stuff like that. Of course, I think my jiu-jitsu is going to be what's going to make my career long, and kind of, records and things like that from submissions and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a totally different game when you fight someone who's like good on the ground and good striking,
And this fight, like 6 months to the day of your last one, like was this a bit longer than a layoff than what you wanted?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I came after my loss. I wanted to get back in soon. We were trying to see like the January 15th, I think it was 15, the Anaheim card, but I had a surgery, so that kind of pushed me back a little bit. And then yeah, so I mean, it was a little bit longer than I had hoped, especially after a loss. You want to kind of get back in there and just like, oh, let's forget about the loss kind of thing. But it was good. I mean, I'm taking advantage of this time, and just working on me and as a fighter. So it was needed, And sometimes, of course, injuries aren't the best things, But definitely, like when you look on the bright side of things, the injury was kind of like what I needed to like hold back and let me work on myself and get myself a better, physically like physical, and like, my body and my mind and just technique. So yeah, it was good. I mean, in the end, I'm happy for this time.
And with Tisha, like, how do you think you match up against her? Just because she is very well rounded, and she's already like she's fought a lot of those top girls, like we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a great fight for me right now, coming off my loss and, off the injury and just like being this time out, I think she's gonna push the pace. You know, I know she has great cardio, so I'm really focused on, okay, if we go to 3 rounds. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she's fought someone with my ground game, you know. And I mean, of course, in my last fight with Marina, the hard part was getting her to the ground and reaching her. So the fact that Tisha's shorter than me, you know, I think it's good. I think this is a good advantage for me, because kind of for her to point on me and stuff, she needs to get in closer than Marina did, for example. You know, Marina could kind of stay on the outside and still, you know, get her points and stuff like that. And Tisha, for her to get inside, she's shorter than me, you know, so I'll have the reach in this fight. And I've been working so much on just closing the distance and my takedowns and things like that. So I'm definitely not gonna lose a lot of positions in this fight like my last one. You know, I have a lot of things that I corrected, and I think I'm gonna get the submission in this fight. That's the goal.
But that's something I want to touch on. Like, Tisha's never been finished before. So like, if you go out there and finish her, like, what do you think that does for her? Because like, her only losses are to Marina, Whaley, Joanna, Jessica Andrade, and then Rose, who are the top 5 of the division, and none of them never were able to finish her.
Yeah. No, I think that's will be a great statement, you know. And like I said, she kind of had a little bit like bad phase, kind of, I guess, bad phase, but she, like you said, she was just fighting all the champs and stuff like that. So but recently, man, I feel like she's evolved so much. Almost she did like a big, I don't know what she did in her game or her camp or what she did, but man, I feel like she just evolved way more now, and she's a better fighter now than she was before. So I really think that will be a huge statement, you know. And just, I mean, everyone, I think everyone in the division knows I'm dangerous on the ground, you know, but I think when you have really, all know how hard Tisha is to finish and stuff like that. And so when you have someone go in and then finish her, it's kind of like, oh shoot, okay. So we really have to be careful. And hopefully that gives like a little bit, like, intimidates a little bit, you know, in the division. I mean, you know what I mean? That for the girls when they fight me, and just kind of be a little bit more scared, even just to exchange, you know, on the standing, because if you get too close, then you're taken to the ground.
Oh, where do you think a win puts you? Just because you're already ranked 5th, and like a win here, especially with the strawweight division, like you could be in another title eliminator fight like right after this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Tisha, she's, I think, number 7. So if I win the fight, I won't go up in the ranks, I don't believe. So I'll stay probably number 5. But it's just like the division's a little bit on hold right now. I mean, I think Rose and Carla, I don't know if they're 100% scheduled, but I think they're next to fight. And then, I mean, I know Joanna's trying to get kind of like the pay higher raise and stuff like that, but hopefully her and Zhang Weili can fight again, and we can see the number 2 of that fight. And then after that, yeah, like we'll see who has next. Maybe, you know, I really don't know. I kind of want to fight someone ahead of me, so I don't know. Young China and that rematch with Marina. I think Marina will go for the title after her last performance. But yeah, just kind of wait and see what happens in the division. That's the hard part when you get to the top. You know, it's like you don't have that many options. Than when you're, you know, back unranked or something like that. You can have fights almost every other weekend if you want. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the division. But I definitely think with a great win, a big statement, we can have a really big fight after this.
Yeah, because I think you get a win here. Like, it's really maybe like the loser of the title fight, or like Yan Jianan or Weili if she does get the Yuana fight. Like, I think those are probably like the only 3 fights that are, because then everyone else is below you and you beat a lot of them. So like, I think a person ranked above you is probably next.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, coming into this, I thought like, man, so if you lose, you have to fight someone who lost. If you win, then you fight someone who won, you know. But then I saw like Marina and Yan China, and then I said like, okay, it's not necessarily about if you're coming off a win or a loss, you know. It's just kind of how the matchup. And I think a lot of people would like to see me with any of the girls in the top 4, you know, top 5, you know. So hopefully I get this win. Not looking past Tisha, you know. I really want to make a big statement, show all my improvement, and then we'll see what comes after that.
Just a couple more things, like with that Rose Carla fight, if it happens, who do you kind of see winning that one? Because that's such like a close fight to me. Like, I don't really even know who wins.
No, I think Rose will win. You know, I mean, yeah, I think it was just experience why Carla won on the first time. I don't see like Rose giving her back or giving those same positions like the last time. And I mean, I know Carla's she's getting stronger and things like that. But I kind of feel like Carla's a little bit very, very similar than she was back then. You know, I don't see her had, you know, changed so much. You know what I mean? So I just see Rose, how much she evolved from back then, and I think she's a totally new fighter and a better athlete and a better, you know, all around technique. You know, so I think Rose will get the win again, or not again, but stay with the belt.
It's something we've talked about in the past too, but are you still getting people like always asking you or questioning you if you're going to make weight just because that like 1 or 2 times it happened? Like you've made 115 all the times. And I always see people like, oh, you got to watch Dern on the scale. Like you don't know she's going to make it. And you've made it like every time in the past like 3 years. I don't know why people are still talking about it.
No, I mean, it's gone way better. I think very few people actually like talk about it now, you know, but it's actually funny because my weight's so good. Now my problem, it's a good problem to have, you know, but my problem is to keep my weight up, you know, so I'm really just trying to keep my weight up and not like, I'll go to like 121, you know, like Thursday, I was 121, you know, and so I have to like stay, okay, let me get my weight back up to 123 so I don't get, my last fight, I weighed in 114.5, you know, and I fight at 115, and the day of the fight, the next day I was 116, so I didn't even gain weight, you know what I mean? And I don't want to be that light, you know. I'm trying to get at least a little bit heavier than that. You know, I like to fight around 123. That's kind of like my normal weight. So, yeah, just my problem now is kind of to keep my weight up. And it's funny, like my weight's good. So I don't want to go to like the weigh-ins so early and just like waiting around and stuff like that. So I'm usually almost one of the last ones to go weigh in. And everyone, I think that like, people like, oh, look, see, she must be suffering or something. I'm like, no, I'm just relaxing at home. Well, not at home, but at the hotel with my daughter. You know, I don't want to be just waiting for everyone to weigh in. You know, I try and go near the end, you know. So I think that kind of gives a little bit, I don't know, people still think that maybe I'm suffering. I'm trying to get the weight off, you know. So it's funny. I'm like, I think that'll stick with me probably for a long time.
Just last thing, like what's kind of the goal for you this year? Like where do you kind of see yourself at the end of the year if everything goes your way?
By the end of this year?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think before my loss, it was a lot of like, you know, every time you get on a hype train, you know, and you start getting momentum, you know, the things start coming really fast. People start talking about titles, you know, and stuff like that. So this time I'm not sure how fast I'll progress, you know, in the rankings, like I said before, like with the other girls in the division. But I mean, I think it all just depends on my performances, how big of statements I can do if I win things kind of close, you know, or if I get, you know, in and out and submit and just put on a great show. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm close. I'm close to the belt. We'll see what happens. But I think 2022 is going to be a great year. And yeah, hopefully injury free. And we'll see what comes by the end of the year. But who knows? Maybe a title fight. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Well, Mackenzie, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks so much. Cool.
Good, man. Life is good. It's Wednesday morning. I got WrestleFuck today because that's what happens when you're going up against the elite of the elite who've been wrestling their whole life. Look at this dude. Look at this dude popping in. He's coming in. He's trying to steal some of my limelight because they call me Hollywood now. I get it.
Ever since he moved to the States, bro, he's been acting different.
He's just annoyed because I'm the best wrestler in the gym now. Yeah, so Wednesday morning's a tough morning because you got dudes like him on the mat who are just the elite of the elite in regards to wrestling, who've been wrestling since they were 12 months old, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's great, but you know what? Like, every day on the mat is a day that I learn and I get better, and if I can take one thing away from that improves my game, then that's a massive step forward. So it's awesome.
This opponent, Darian Weeks, like, was this a guy you were surprised by you got? Because I remember talking to you before the Williams fight, and it was more about you, and the opponent didn't matter. Is it the same thing for this one?
Yeah, I think it's the exact same. For me, it's like, no disrespect to Darian, but I've never heard of him before the contract was sent over. But he's game. You know what I mean? He fought Barberena on a couple like short notice. You don't take a UFC debut on short notice if you're not a game fighter, if you haven't got fucking guts, which I like. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want. I want to fight someone who's game. I don't want to fight someone who's going to get in there and just try to take a loss. So, which is a lot of guys out there. A lot of guys haven't got heart and they haven't got it. Got that kind of bite down and go. And Darian has that. So I'm excited. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see what he's going to bring in the cage. I mean, for me, I don't see how I lose the fight. I can literally only see every avenue where I can win. Mm-hmm. So it's more just about when he gets desperate. I'm gonna take that mile when he gives me that inch.
And with this fight, like in Florida on another pay-per-view in front of fans, like how much better does that make it now that your home is in Florida as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I was like, people keep saying to me, why am I on UFC London? Because I'm not British. Like I like the fact that when I travel to fight, my friends, my family, anyone that's supporting me can go to Florida, to New York, to Vegas, to Arizona, whether it be Hawaii, whether it be Canada, whether it be back in Europe somewhere. I want the fact that when my fans and supporters follow me, that they get to travel and they can experience different cities, different countries. And I like that. So for me being in North Florida, my friends and family and supporters are going to come here. There's a load of Irish coming over. And then we're going to come back down to South Florida after to where I live and kind of just enjoy the southern Florida heat and the sunshine and just take in the blue skies and the palm trees.
Yeah, and we've seen with Connor, like the Irish love traveling. So it's something where you can get a lot of those and it just makes the fight feel bigger for you when you have everyone flying over.
100%. And the Irish get on board. You know what I mean? It's like Connor, like there was a couple of fights where Connor didn't have a lot of followers coming over. And then it changed and everyone and their dog was flying over to see Connor fight. And I get it. Do you know what I mean? It's like Irish people like drinking and fighting and partying. So you combine all three of them into one night, they're game. And they like holidays. Every Irish person likes a bit of sun. They might go pink, but they like the sunshine. Do you know what I mean? So they'll do anything they can to get away from work and the weather in Dublin and go out and experience a good weekend. So yeah, I'm excited for when that time is like literally everyone is coming over. So a couple more fights and we'll have the whole country coming over.
With Darian, like I imagine you've looked at him now. Like how do you think you match up against him?
Haven't looked at him.
No.
I had this conversation with Henry Hoof last night, and I said to him, "Do you want to watch tape?" And he said, "No." He said, "You don't have to watch tape." He said, "You just keep doing you." And I was like, "Henry, I love you. I love you because that is my opinion. Why should I watch tape in MMA?" Cole, you know this. Like fighters change so regularly in a sense of like, oh, someone's out, they've got injured. What we do isn't easy. Do you know what I mean? It could simply be something where Darian's training next week and he falls and hurts his shoulder or hurts his elbow or his ankle. And he can't fight because it's in so much pain or he gets kicked in the rib. There is so much stuff that happens and it's so easy to get injured because what we do is it's hard, it's strenuous on the body, like it's stressful. So it could change tomorrow. Like Darian's a wrestler. I could be fighting a stand-up, like a guy who's a Muay Thai background if Darian has to pull out for some reason. So I just want to focus on me and my skill set and what I want to do better and what I want to work on. And yes, I might go, okay, well, Darian's going to try probably take me down. And if he doesn't, well, that's probably idiotic in his behalf being a wrestler. So obviously, I've been working on my wrestling defense regardless because I've told you I get WrestleFucked here coming up against the best of the best. It's something that I always want to improve on. Is every single aspect of this game I want to get better in, and every camp that's what I do is I try to get better in every area, and that's not going to stop. And eventually, when I'm on my way up to a world title, people will see, well, it's just been a combination of hard work and dedication to get to the point where I am, where it's like he's so good on the feet, he's so good at stopping wrestling, he's so good at wrestling offense, his grappling's phenomenal, his grappling defense is phenomenal. It's like it ain't an overnight thing. It's years and years of hard work. So we're slowly getting to that point. So that's what it is. It's just me working on me. And then I'll go into that fight and I'll do what I do best. And that's take the fight to my realm and where I charge.
With Darian, like how quickly are you kind of expecting him to shoot? Because I can't imagine him wanting to stand with you too long.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think he could come out, like most wrestlers don't shoot straight away. So I think he'll give it a couple of minutes. If he comes out and shoots straight away, then good luck. So I mean, you try to shoot on me straight away when I'm fresh, when I'm ready to go, when I'm thinking you're going to do it. It's not smart. He'll try and make me forget about the wrestling, but I ain't going to forget about it. And if he tries, I've got a nice couple of shots that'll crack him on the way in, or might put him on the back foot before he gets a chance. You know what I mean? We're game. I'm as game as a fighter as it comes. If you want to wrestle, let's go. If you want to strike, let's go. If you want to have a night where we're just going absolute hell for leather, scrambling, going crazy, I'm in. So let's see who works harder. Let's see who gets the finish.
The same thing happened with Connor, but do you think because of how good your striking is, people just go, oh, you just got to take him down, or he doesn't have any wrestling? Like the same thing was with Connor was, oh, just take him down. He doesn't know how to stop a takedown. And then he gave Khabib the toughest fight. And same with you, like your wrestling, I imagine at Sanford is probably very good and people don't expect it.
I mean, look, I'm going against, I've said it again, I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going against guys who've wrestled their entire life in here. I'm coming from Europe where the wrestling isn't as prominent like it is in America. So there's guys who are wrestling in high school and college, then they go on. And it's just bred into them from a young age. That's part of the reason why I'm here. I've got my coach of Greg Jones, who's absolutely phenomenal at breaking down wrestling. Do you know what I mean? You've got unbelievable wrestlers, people like Jason Jackson and Logan Storley, who I'm trying to learn off and go with. And it's like, just take in as much knowledge as I can so that I can develop and grow as a fighter. And I know my weakest aspect is wrestling, because we don't have it back in Europe like it is over here. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm in Florida. That's why I'm here. That's why I specifically chose this gym, because they've got the combination of Henry Hoof for striking and Greg Jones for wrestling. And then you've got the likes of Gilbert and Herbert for our jiu-jitsu. And I've got Wagner Rocha down Hollywood that I can learn. It's like I have got the best of all aspects. And as I've said to you, it's a slow progression to the top, mate. And every single camp, we're getting better and better and better. And every fight, people are just going to see it. That progression to being the most elite I can be.
I remember before your Williams fight, we talked, and you were kind of saying how you didn't think the nerves would be a big thing. Then we talked after, and you thought like that kind of threw you off for a bit. Now that you've experienced it, like, are you kind of expecting this to be just another fight, and you're not at MSG, and it's not your debut, like all that?
Yeah. I mean, that fight was even different though, because it wasn't nerves. It was just a feeling of like being overwhelmed with like almost like shocked joy and pride all thrown into one emotion. It was like someone had just slapped me in the mouth in the middle of a dream and said, wake up. And I'm just standing in the octagon in the middle of MSG while Bruce Buffer is screaming my name and my name's going around the LED screens. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually here. Okay. All right. All these interviews kind of like made me think, like, when I'm during the week, I was so busy fight week. Like the UFC gave me like a lot of interviews. I'm game. I talk the talk. Do you know what I mean? I sit here and I'll talk to a brick wall for 45 minutes. But it was just surreal. It was just the moment that happened. I was like, wow. So for the first 2 minutes of that fight, I wasn't even conscious of what was going on. And then it was just like, right, turn it on, focus, settle down. And then, yeah, the finish came because I was back.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's going to affect this fight. You know what I mean? Like, well, here's the thing. I know it's not going to affect this fight. Mm-hmm. It was my UFC debut. It was the biggest card of the year. Madison Square Garden. All of these things, they add up, man, and you don't realize it. But that's the most historical venue for a fighter. You look at the guys who fought there. Just one name alone. I fought in the same building, in the same area as Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. Just that one name alone is madness. And it's like, to be, like, I don't know how many Irish fighters have fought in Madison Square Garden, but I can guarantee it ain't a lot. So to be part of history and to put my name in that building is awesome. So for me, it's just, it was a dream come true, and it ain't going to be like that. I've got that taste of the biggest card. I've got the taste of the red carpet. I got to see how the organization runs, how they work. Now it's just a case of just rinse and repeat. We go in, we have a good time, and we kick ass and we look good.
And to speak of like how much you were doing on fight week, like I remember we talked, I think it was Thursday morning when most people are doing weight cuts and not many fighters are up for doing interviews then. But with this
dude, I want to give back to people who give back to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you sit down and do an interview with me, it's not me doing you a favor. It's mutual. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm grateful for you taking the time out of your day too. And fight week is a massive time to do interviews because there's a lot of interest around that time. So I obviously want to give back to people who've given to me before. So it's like that kind of like I just sit down, do a couple of minutes, like, look, Cole, I'm bollocks, I'm cutting weight, I'm tired, I'm hungry. I'm going to get pissed off if we sit here for long, but I'll give you what I can, and then I got to go to sleep. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I done over 250 interviews. That camp, like, it was ridiculous. But do you know what I mean? That's only good for me, so I'll take it.
And the one thing you said though in that fight was you were getting that highlight reel first round finish, which is exactly what you got. Like, you're a guy that likes taking your shots. Like, what do you kind of see this one playing out as?
I think it's going to be the same. I think regardless of what Darren tries to do, I'm going to figure him out. And then once I've figured him out, it's just about when he gets desperate. I think I can knock him out in the first second of the first round, or I can knock him out in the last second of the last round. I don't care. I'm not looking for the finish, as in I'm not hunting it. It's going to come. I know it will, because the way I fight and the style I have is I just break people down, and it's when he gets desperate is when I'll take that shot, and then it's game over. And it'll be beautiful. It won't be just an easy finish. It'll be beautiful. It always is. So you can count on that. Trust me.
What do you think a win does for you? It would be 2-0 in the UFC, probably 2 finishes, 2 pretty good finishes. Like, and you're obviously already a big name, like, coming into the UFC. Like, are you thinking like you might get fast tracked and get like a big name? Or are you kind of hoping it's more of these guys, you can kind of build your way up?
I don't want to get fast tracked. As I've said, I'm not in a position where I need to be fast tracked. I'm not 28, 29, 30 years of age, and I'm coming towards the peak of my career, or towards the end of my career, and have to make a run. It's like I'm just starting off. I've had one fight in the UFC. I'm the youngest undefeated fighter on the roster. I'm the 10th youngest fighter on the roster. Do you know what I mean? I have loads of time, Cole. I'm just going to work my way up the ranks. Everything that I said to you, it's slow progression. I'm going to work my way up. And I don't care if they give me, like, guys who are good fighters, if they give me the big names. It's like, okay, but, like, the longer it takes me to get to that world title, the longer I'm going to have that belt. The longer my title reign is going to be, until I decide I've retired the champ. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the way it is. I'm going out on top. So the longer it takes me to get there, the better it is for me, for my skill set, for my understanding, for my experience. And then the more fucked everyone else is when I've got to that point. So yeah, I'm not trying to be fast tracked like Cam's at, or like any of these guys. I'm going to do it the Ian Garry way, the way that I'm going to create. And then people are going to be doing it my way once I've done it. I'm going to set the blueprint.
Just a few more things. Like, what is kind of the goal for you this year then? Like, I imagine you're a guy that always likes being active.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you're always going to be on these big cards. Like, I can't see him putting you at like the Apex in front of no one. I think you're always going to be on these.
No, I won't. To be honest, I don't think I'll ever be fighting on an Apex card unless I choose a short notice fight. Like, and the longer I get into my career, then the more often I will take those short notice fights. Like, I'm game. I'd love to fight 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year. But right now, there's no point. For me, it's about being active, but being smart and giving myself enough time for growth in between each fight. So that when I go into a fight, I'm not fighting 8 weeks later. I want to give myself at least 4 months in between every fight, if possible. Obviously, sometimes there is, like, life comes into play, and you've got different scenarios and different ways that you've got to kind of move about it, and we kind of shuffle and change the deck. But my ideal goal is every year I want to fight 3 times a year until I decide to change it up. Until, okay, maybe I go in here and I finish Darren in a minute, and I'm like, oh shit, well, that wasn't really a fight. Okay, let's give myself a month and I'll go again. Do you know what I mean? I'll cut weight again and I'll go again. There's like, here's the best part about this is I'm in control. I can sit there and send Dana, Mick, and Sean Shelby an email and say, hey guys, I got 1 minute worth of a fight. I've done a whole fight camp. I want to go again. You got any short notice fights? I'll jump in. Let me know. So then I'm game. But for me, it's about being active. It's about showing people that I'm repeatedly showing up. And that's what I want. That's like, if I fight 3 times a year for the next 5 years, it's 15 fights in the UFC. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fights. You know what I mean?
With this card too, like, you're obviously on it with your teammate Gilbert Burns, who has a
I'm
big
Mickey Gall.
fight.
We've got 3 of us on it. Mickey's here now.
Yeah. So with this one, like with Gilbert, like, how do you kind of see that one playing out? Because that's obviously a massive fight for him.
Dude, it's a huge fight because Gilbert's an animal. Do you know what I mean? He's so highly respected in the sport, which is absolutely well deserved and well earned because he is elite. Do you know what I mean? The only guy to beat him in recent history is the champion, who's on a 15-fight win streak. Do you know what I mean? That alone shows how good he is. And then you've got Khamzat, who's the most hyped fighter in the UFC at the moment. Do you know what I mean? He's the most interesting guy everyone's talking about because no one knows what to expect from him. It's a tough fight for both guys because a wrestler versus a grappler is always a tough fight. But it's interesting. Do you know what I mean? Both guys are going to bang. Both guys are going to get into it. And I don't think Khamzat is the type of guy that's going to be afraid of Gilbert's grappling. I think he's going to be smart enough to be prepared for it. And I know for a fact that Gilbert ain't worried about Khamzat's wrestling because it's like they're both so game that they're going, right, let's just step into that octagon and let's see what happens. So I just want to sit back as a fan and watch that fight and see how it plays out because you've got two guys who are elite at what they do and world class, and I just want to sit back and enjoy it. Obviously, cheering my guy on, do you know what I mean? I'm hoping Jairzinho goes out there and smashes him. But it's still interesting. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for either guy. I think it's going to be tough because they're both elite. So, yeah.
Just two more things. Like, do you think there's more pressure on you because you're Irish and because the UFC is, like, kind of shown what McGregor did and then to you, and now there's people thinking, like, oh, you have to be the next Conor? You kind of put that away, like, to the side.
No, I don't. People ask me this, and it's kind of hard to explain, but I put the most pressure on myself, Cole. Every single time I fight, I expect that knockout finish. I expect that highlight reel. I expect every single person that goes to that fight to leave that building going, that dude Ian Garry's something special. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I think about it. Like, I want people to leave there talking about me. I want Dana, Sean Shelby, the media all going, you know, when they do the post-fight scrum and they have Dana and all these guys sit down, they're like, Ian Garry showed up again today and he's like, yeah, that dude's a savage. I want every single person in that building talking about me. And I've got to show up. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to put all that pressure on me to show up. But I enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? I'm being given an opportunity to go in there on the biggest stage to do what I love to do and just show up and show the world what I've got. And that to me is just, I'm just grateful to have that opportunity. So I'm going to show up every single time.
Last thing, you got married. What was that like? Congratulations on that.
Well. Thank you, man. Awesome. Do you know what? I've got a partner who's fucking amazing. I love her. Everything about her benefits me in my life. And it's like, we just work so well together. We run the Future Group together. So like, it's me and her. We're in charge of my management company, in charge of sponsors. We run everything together. It's like, we're like, together we are successful. Together we're happy. Everything we do is just right. So marrying her was an easy decision, and it was fucking awesome. We went to Vegas and had a great night, great time. And yeah, now we're just going to have a lifetime of fucking awesome adventures, traveling the world, having a good time, and yeah, just being genuinely happy. That's what we want.
And I do have to give credit to her. Like, she is one of the easiest people to deal with to arrange interviews with you. Like, I've dealt with other managers. A lot of them, it's like a hassle to get a hold of them or just get with the fighters. Like, you and Layla just have it locked down where it's nice and easy for us.
Dude, like, people don't understand it, and it's something that I cannot wait for. But like, we're gonna go to the top together, me and her. Like, this company that we've got, like, we're not looking to sign anyone else. This is all around me. Like, we sit there and we work with brands that work for me, that I feel interested, that I have passion for, that I want to work with. We have all the control in regards to our content. Like, we create our content so that it's different. It's not similar. It's unlike any other MMA fighter out there. And the thing is, it's like, I'm not just a fighter. Like, I'm a brand in myself. Like, what I do is interesting. What we do is interesting as a couple. But dude, she's fucking awesome. And there's going to be a point, and I cannot wait for this, where she's going to sit there and she's going to be literally the best manager in MMA, and people are going to be fucking fuming, all because it's a woman. I cannot fucking wait for it, because there's going to be so many guys who are out there going, oh, well, she's a woman. She doesn't know anything about fighting. I'll tell you, she fucking knows more about fighting than I do. She might know technique, but she knows more fighters. She knows more about mindset than anyone I've met. and she's fucking on it. So I cannot wait for that point where I'm the best fighter in the UFC, I'm the pound-for-pound king, and she's my manager, and, well, we are my management, but she is the fucking best of the best, and people are coming to her, and we're turning down everyone under the sun purely because we can. I can't fucking wait for that point.
Well, Ian, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, Cole. Have a great day. And hey, look, you have the blueprint. You message Sophie, you get on to Layla, and we'll do this whenever you're free.
All right, we're joined by Korean Zombies coach Eddie Cha. Eddie, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Obviously, big fight upcoming here. Like, it was supposed to be Volkanovski, Holloway, and then Holloway pulls out. Like, how quickly after that did you know Zombie was going to be the guy getting the fight?
I didn't know until I got to the gym, and then I was actually teaching team practice, and then we got a call from Zombie's manager, Jason House, and he said, "Call Zombie ASAP." I was like, "It's 4 a.m. over there," and then he said he got the title shot, so called him. He didn't answer. He got back to me, and then that's how I found out. That's how we found out.
And with this too, like, did he fly in right away, or did he do part of his camp out there again?
I think he flew out probably about a week or two after.
So what's that been like? Because I know Zombie for a while has been splitting his camp, so to have him for the entire time, what's that been like?
Oh, he's been here this whole time. We've had an 8-week training camp, which is pretty much a full camp for us. And, this is the best he's looked. I know everybody always says that every camp in and out, but he's been dropping sparring partners, and his cardio looks great. Everything looks good.
And with Volkanovski, like, what have you made of his run? Because he's looked very good in the UFC.
He has. He's on a huge win streak. Anybody that can beat Holloway twice and Ortega, I thought Ortega's fight was definitely fight of the year. He looks great. You can't take anything away from it. But looking at the odds, I mean, 5-1 underdog. Some sites got him up to 7-1. I think it's just kind of a joke, but that's fine. There's no pressure on Zombie. All the pressure's on him.
Yeah, what are you surprised it's that wide? Like, Volkanovski, like, for being how good he is, like, Zombie still has legit knockout power. Like, he can knock anyone out. So I was surprised the odds are the way they are.
Yeah, I'm actually happy with it. A lot of our friends are looking to make some money this fight.
And with Alex, like, where do you think his strengths are? Because, like, he's such a well-rounded fighter that he's like a hard guy to beat. Like, or he could survive on the ground with Ortega, and then he went toe-to-toe striking with Holloway.
Yeah, I think he's well-rounded. I think some of his biggest strengths, he can make adjustments in between rounds. You saw him losing the Holloway the second fight, first and second round, and then he made the adjustments 3, 4, and 5. I thought that was super impressive. The City Kickboxing, they have a great gym over there. They're really good at their feints. They mix up their feints to kicks really well. They switch stance fairly good. He can mix it up. I think he's a really well-rounded MMA fighter. The only thing I would probably take away is he lacks a little bit of power. He's not finishing guys in there. I don't think he's finished a guy in the last 4 or 5 years. And so Zombie can finish anybody from the first round to the last 25th minute. And so he's a super dangerous cat. I think the only guy shorter than Zombie that he's lost to was Aldo 10 years ago. I know he's not Frankie Edgar, but there's a lot of similarities to, Volkanovski fighting outside of his size range or height. But I think it's going to be a great fight. I don't think Zombie's a 7-1 underdog by any means. But like I said, it's good for all our friends that like to bet.
Do you expect Alex to wrestle Zombie once they start kind of trading some shots?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like I said, Volkanovski mixes his wrestling in really well, but Zombie's pressure and the style that he kind of fights, it forces you to either throw or wrestle. So can't give away much of the game plan or anything like that, but we're definitely ready for wherever this takes us on the cage. If he wants to strike, if he wants to continue to kick like he did Holloway, if he wants to play that game, Zombie will be ready anywhere it goes.
And we've seen Alex be rocked before. Like Holloway rocked him in the second fight. I think it was Mendez that had him hurt. Like, is that something though you're even looking at with Zombie, that he recovers well? So like you can't rush in and kind of exert all your energy if he gets him rocked early?
Zombie's a great finisher. I don't think we have to say, hey, hold it back. He's going to recover well. Zombie knows when somebody's hurt and he'll get the job done. He got rocked by Holloway, but again, no disrespect to Holloway, but he's not a knockout artist either. He's more of a volume guy. He's going to beat you with punches. I mean, he landed 1,000 strikes and didn't get a finish off. What's his name? Kelvin Cater.
Kelvin Cater.
Yeah, so he'll be Holloway will finish you with volume, 800 punches. Zombie can hit one shot and you're out. It's not about power. To me, power comes from timing. The punches that you don't see, the punches that you're throwing at the same time, as you're coming in, as you duck your head for those uppercuts or things like that. So Zombie's timing, I think, is what makes his power. But he definitely has pop by itself, too.
And this is obviously Zombie's second shot at trying to get the belt. Like the first one was like 2013 against Aldo. Like, I know you kind of weren't there, but how much better do you think he is now, and especially just throughout his career now, ready for this shot compared to way back then?
Yeah, it's definitely night and day. We've got a couple of people have asked this question before. From his first title shot compared to now, he's a completely different fighter. From nutrition, strength and conditioning, game planning. He's never had so many skill sets that he does now. Never really had game planning, never had the coaches that he had. It's just completely different fighter.
And having Cejudo too, like how big is that for this camp, where especially if Alex tries to wrestle, and Cejudo has to be a lot better of a wrestler than Alex, so Zombie can stuff those, like that has to give you and him confidence.
It's huge, obviously. We couldn't get a better partner than Henry Cejudo. He's been doing not only wrestling, but he's been doing play rounds. It's a real sight to see Henry versus Zombie. And it's been fun every week, day in, day out, getting to see those guys kind of meshing at it. And even Henry said, like in the beginning, he goes, Volkanovski's super tough. We got to work on this, and this. And then 3 weeks into camp, it's like Henry's like, he's going to knock him out. Like, there's no way Zombie's losing this fight.
I've seen a lot of talk where everyone just kind of thinks Zombie has that puncher's chance that he has to knock out Alex. I actually think it's not out of the possibility that Zombie could win a decision. Like, do you think that's pretty likely too, where it's not just he has to get that knockout, where he could out-volume Alex and easily win a decision that way too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Zombie's last fight with Dan Ige went to decision, and he showed that composure. Zombie mixed in wrestling as well, his last fight. So I thought he won 4 out of 5 rounds off Ige, and he shows that he can do that. He's not just a knockout artist. Zombie's super technical. Most knockout artists are looking for that one-punch shot. He can beat you with the jab. He can beat you with wrestling. I think his wrestling is super underrated, and his jiu-jitsu as well. And so, yeah, he can definitely win decision, but I'd like to see him get him out of there quick.
I know you don't want to give away too much, but how do you kind of see it? I imagine you think Zombie's going to get that knockout, but do you think that would be early, or do you think it would be like later as he kind of wears on Alex?
I heard that Volkanovski said he was going to get Zombie out of there in under 3 rounds. And it's funny because I think the exact same thing, if not 2. So that's my prediction.
If Zombie wins, do you think it's an immediate rematch right away just because Volkanovski has had the belt, or do you think it's off to Holloway or off to these different guys?
I have no idea. That's so far down the line, and I don't even know if that's up to us, to be honest with you. We just want to win that belt first.
Yeah. What would it be like for you to win that belt? Because I know you've worked closely with Zombie for years, so to see him win the belt, what would that be like?
That'd definitely be a goal of mine. But it would be huge because Korea's never had a UFC world champion. Asia in general has never had a male UFC champion, so he would be the first. And that would be something special, especially I'm Korean as well, and we have such a special bond. And I would love for seeing him win that belt April 9th.
Do you think that adds pressure to him that he's trying to be that first, or is that something that he's not even really thinking about?
No, I think we've already gone over all those things, and I think maybe some of the odds, I can definitely see. Obviously, Volkanovski would be favored, but it could be, Zombie lost to Ortega in a striking battle, and Ortega and Volkanovski beat him, and so. But we all know MMA math never works out like that. Alrighty, let's see. And then the bigger fights, like that was a fight that it was a title eliminator. He's lost. Oh shit! Sorry, I'll let Eric go. And then also he lost the Aldo fight. So those are the two biggest fights, and I think he lost that. So people were thinking, he doesn't fight well under pressure and all this stuff. And so we kind of went over a lot of that stuff. We also went over. We also brought in a mental coach to help with all that stuff, and everything that we put into this camp, it's really been working. We've gotten the results. It's hard to tell you all the changes that we made. The court, the team wise, coaches wise, it's all the same. But when it comes to training and everything else, we've added so much to this camp, and it's really starting to show in all the sparring sessions.
I know everyone always says like, "Oh, this is the best camp," but like just judging off that, like it seems like you guys are kind of taking the right steps. And with this, like you guys got, even though it was showing us, like you still got a ton of notice. Like how much did that help? Where you had like all this time to kind of formulate this game plan, where it's not just you're filling in and you only had like 3-4 weeks to jump in there.
Yeah, I know like title camps, everyone likes to do 10 to 12 weeks, but we got I think about 10 weeks. And so to us, it's a full camp. He's 100% ready. Everything is good to go. We've been studying Volkanovski for quite some time too. He's been champ for quite a while. So there's no excuses if he loses, but I really feel good about this fight. I don't like making predictions, but at the same time, I like being honest. And we have 3 on the card. This camp has been hard because we have Kelvin Gastelum, Mark Madsen, and Zombie all on the same card. Then we have Eric Ander just got in town. Tracy Cortez just got a fight. And we have 3 Mongolians here, Alatang Lee. And there's just so many fights coming up. Cyborg was in town for a little bit. We helped her out. And we just finished Figueiredo's camp. So it's just been one thing after another. This has been our busiest year at Fight Ready. But it's been great. Can't complain.
And then Cejudo's not doing any favors, just recruiting everyone over.
Yeah. It's careful what you ask for, because and that's literally how it started. Who should we bring in? Who do you want to work with, coach? And anybody I say, it's literally, oh, they're coming in Monday then. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Just last question though, like on the flip side though, like how much of a help has Cejudo been? Not even just with the wrestling, but he's been a world champion. He kind of knows what it takes, especially with him and Zombie. I know him and Zombie worked together in the past. Like how important has he been on not even just the wrestling, but the mental side for this camp?
Oh, he's been huge. He's been at, we have meetings twice a week. He's been at all the meetings. Like I said, he's been helping out with sparring, play rounds, the wrestling, helping out with the mindset, the mental preparation of what he should be thinking about during fight week, fight camp, fight day, and so forth. And someone that's been there and knows how to handle pressure better than anybody, winning the Olympics, and gold medal and winning 2 division champ. You couldn't ask for a better partner. He's a coach now too, so he's a huge part of this camp.
Oh, well, Eddie, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure, man. Anytime.
Let's go.
All right, we're joined by UFC heavyweight Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who's back at UFC 273. Jairzinho, how's it going, man?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Obviously, another fight booked. Like, was this the right amount of time off, or are you hoping to return a bit sooner after the last one?
I want to return sooner, but it is what it is, and got me enough time to get in shape in the way I wanted, and yeah.
What do you take away from that last fight against Blades? Obviously, you landed some good shots. Like his eye was like basically shut from that, and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
the wrestling played the role though.
I think it was a really good fight. I learned a lot, especially of this guy's wrestling. And as people are saying, he has the highest rate wrestling in the heavyweight division. And I have the experience with him to share the octagon, of course. And yeah, it goes his way, it goes sideways, And overall, I think I improved my. Uh, I think I improved my overall game. You keep seeing me? Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, I got you.
Uh, 1 second, because someone was calling me real quick. Let me say I'm busy. Sorry. Yeah. And yeah, I think it was a really good fight. And I learned my lessons. And this is how it's going to be. This is the top 15, the top 10, the top 5. And there's a reason we rank it so high. So
And Marcin Tybura, like, is this a guy you thought you'd fight, or is this a name that kind of surprised you?
no, it doesn't. He was asking for the fight. Like when I fought Augusto Sakai for the co-main event, he say who wins the main event fight. He want to fight that guy, and now it's that time. So that fight makes sense. It's a good matchup. He's a guy's been around for a while. He's doing his thing. Yeah, I think it's a good matchup for us, and we will go for this one and try to win as well.
Yeah, what have you made of his UFC run? Because he was on that really good winning streak, then obviously lost the last fight to Volkov, who's right up there.
I think he's doing a pretty good job in the heavyweight division, especially he had a 4 fight winning streak or 3. But I think he do a pretty good job, and now I'm gonna face him and see what he made of. And of course, I want to win this fight, and I'm gonna go everywhere to win this fight. Yeah,
Are you expecting Marcin to shoot often and try to take you down pretty often in this one?
of course, everybody want to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll be prepared, especially after my last fight. Yeah, the wrestling get in my mind, and I forced myself to go back to zero, especially with the wrestling part. And yeah,
How do you think you match up against Tybura? Because I think a lot of people would imagine if it stays on the feet, you're obviously the better striker. But then if he can get you down, like that's obviously the big if.
yeah, but I think Martin is a overall fighter. He has his jiu-jitsu, he has his Greco wrestling. I see knock people down. He's on the feet. So yeah, I think mostly if it stay on the feet, that's easier for me. Try to take me down. I gotta work myself out of there and make sure I can finish the fight wherever it goes.
With this one, obviously, like how do you kind of see it playing out? Like I know whenever you fight, like you're always searching for that knockout.
Yeah, of course, the knockout it come by himself. It's not that I'm searching for it. I know I have it in my hands. Soon as I'm start touching people, they having big problems, and yeah, then they want to rush to the ground. So any error, I say always any error, I can knock somebody out. But we're gonna see. I'm gonna be in shape, working on myself, and I feel really good. So going into this fight, I feel perfect.
You obviously use your kicks a lot, but is that something that you're going to limit just with Tybura trying to wrestle you? And obviously, it's a bit easier to grab your leg if you're throwing it.
Nah, I'm just gonna be myself and have fun in there. Yeah.
How much of a benefit is it that this fight is happening right after Blade? So you can you've already been preparing for the wrestling and takedown defense for like over a year now.
Yeah. How should I put this? I mean, since I've been in the UFC, I've been working on my wrestling. It's not there where I want it to be, but I'm improving my overall game every day, every time, every fight, and I feel that everything is coming around, and it's the perfect time. So now I can start go back forward and work myself up in the division and take this over.
You get the knockout win here. Like, where do you think that kind of puts you in the grand scheme of things?
As soon as I put this guy away, I want to go right back in it, and I want to go back for the top 5, top 10, top 5, and yeah, I think that's the most important part.
What do you make of the top of the division? Because the last time we talked, obviously a lot have changed. We saw Ngannou defeat Gon. We saw Tuivasa kind of skyrocket and knock out Derek Lewis. Like, what do you kind of make of obviously Ngannou winning and then Tuivasa's rise?
Nah, I mean, it's pretty awesome, and I'm happy that things are getting changed. I hope everything gets resolved within Ghana and the UFC. Yeah, I'm gonna see what's gonna happen up there. Right now, I'm focusing what is in front of me, and that's Marseille. And as soon as I win this fight, I'll start looking forward to see who and what and who is available.
Who do you think should get the next title shot? Because Ngannou seems like he's going to be out for a while. Like, there's Stipe out there. There's obviously John Jones. And Tuivasa has kind of put himself right up there to get a title shot.
If you ask me who should get the title shot, I don't know. But if you come, my mind doesn't go with John Jones or Stipe for an interim title. Why? I mean, we've been fighting the whole division
Mm-hmm.
for 2 years since COVID and all the thing, the whole pandemic. We've been training, working hard, and I think one of us should get the title shot. Maybe I'm not in the perfect spot right now, but there are others that rank above me that should get a title shot. But I don't think fighter that doesn't fight, keep talking behind and say a lot of things. Just come and fight and earn your place.
Oh, like, what is kind of your goal for this year? Like, I know you always want to be active, and if you can go out there and knock out Tybura, like, it sets you up for a pretty big year.
Right now, I always want to fight most that I can in a year. Right now, I'm gonna go first for this one. It's my main focus, and after this one, I'm gonna see who's available, and I'm gonna be stay in shape so I can pick fights. And I mean, if someone fell out or something happened, someone got injured, you don't know. But if I'm in shape, I can pick any fight. So I'm gonna go forward and win this fight and move up there again.
Do you think like, do you like being on these 3-round pay-per-view fights, or do you rather be that main event and have those 5-round fights?
I do the 5 round fight better. Yeah,
You do?
yeah.
Is
I'm
there a
more 5 round.
specific reason?
Yeah, I know I have the gas tank that I
Mhm.
can, I can go slowly in the fight and bring it up to the higher pace. For example, that blade fight, we wanted it for 5 rounds, but they couldn't do that. It was a pay-per-view card. There were two main events. So, but it goes how it goes, and right now we're focusing what is in front of us. That fight goes, probably meet this guy again because yeah, we all gonna be in the top and we probably fight a guy 2 3 times.
With the bigger octagon, though, like, do you think that's a benefit to you in this one? So there's like your back's not right up to the fence right away, like the apex, especially if Tybura is going to try to get you down.
Yeah, I think it benefits, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I've been fighting in a 6 foot 6 ring for years, so you'll be learning to turn around, keep moving. So I don't think that's a problem. But if it goes that way, in the bigger octagon, you have more space. So
Obviously, the big news is with the pay-per-view, you're fronting fans. Like, how exciting is that for you to be back in front of fans?
that's really exciting, and it's been a while. My last fight was also with fans, and it was awesome. But after the pandemic, fighting again with fans is always awesome and nice.
With this one too, like going back down to Jacksonville, like, is that something you're excited about? Less travel for you with being in Florida?
Correctly, because it's 2 hours or 3 hours driving for me, so it's right there, and I'm happy I don't have to fly or just drive it in.
Yeah, and same time zone you're on, so you don't have to like adjust your sleep or anything.
Correctly. Now I'm happy that it's right in Jacksonville. I love Jacksonville as well, so we're gonna light it up. It's gonna be awesome.
Obviously, you fought in Ngannou there. Like, is it a bit of a shot at like a redemption going back to Jacksonville in the same
Kind of,
arena?
kind of. But that time it was without fans. It was the
Yeah.
first event we fought without fans when the pandemic started. So now it's gonna be different and it's gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna take my advantage.
Who are kind of the main guys you're working with? Like, obviously, a lot of good heavyweights and bodies at ATT, but like, is there
I work,
specific guys?
I work with the most guys like Marcos Bujeja, Almeida, Pesão, Marcelo, Steve Marco, King Mo, Conan Vieira, all the coaches actually, and all the heavyweights, Junior Dos Santos as well. So all the heavyweights that's there, we helping each other and make sure we get the best out of ourselves in the gym. And when we have to fight, we be in shape, we be ready.
How big of a help is King Mo? Because he's obviously a very good grappler as well.
It's a big help. It's a huge help. My wrestling is getting on point. My takedown defense is there. It's not where we want it to be, but it's there, and my wrestling is going good. As I say, my overall game's getting better. And if I was a 4, I'm a 5 now, so I'm happy that I'm moving up in level.
Do you think that's going to be like something that you're always going to have to be working on? Is your wrestling just because you came from that kickboxing background and like a lot? But even then, like a lot of the heavyweights are strikers, where I don't know like how many are going to try to wrestle you.
I always work on my striking, keep working on my striking, but I add the wrestling to my game, and yeah, that's the way we work on it, and yeah.
Just last thing, you get your hand race here. Like, do you kind of plan to call anyone out, or is it just kind of see how the heavyweight landscape changes and whoever the UFC gives you?
Right now, I'm gonna see who's active.
Mm-hmm.
Calling someone out makes sense, maybe not, but I want to see who's gonna be active, because maybe you call someone out, you get that fight, that person is out for what, 4 months, so you gotta wait 4 months. I don't want to wait that long, 5 months. No, I don't want to wait that long. I want to get in there and be active as the beginning of my career with the UFC, and I'm excited.
Well, Jairzinho, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, we're joined by UFC lightweight Vinc Pichel, who's back in action. Vince, how's it going, man?
What's up, Carl? Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Obviously, we did this interview back like end of January when you're supposed to fight Mark Madsen in February. You get delayed 2 months. Like, what was that kind of process like? Like, you think you were going to get another fight, or was it always rebook this one?
Well, my thought process is I wanted this fight. I wanted to rebook this fight. When Madsen first pulled out, they offered me Nasrat Harpquist, and I declined the fight. They asked me why. I told them because there's nothing to gain besides money from beating him, and I wanted to beat Madsen because I wanted to take his undefeated record, and he's an Olympian, right? So I want to beat Madsen. Madsen's the guy I wanted, and I just feel like the universe owes me. So I said no to the Nasrat fight, and then they're like, okay, we might be sitting a little bit. So I was like, whatever, no big deal. I got money. I'm gonna do my medicals and just let me know when this guy's ready, because he's not getting away from that. His ass beaten. So they're like, okay, cool. And then a week later, I got the call like, hey, Madsen's ready April 9th. So I was like, was he really that injured that it was out for a week, and then I got the call back to like redo this fight, or was he trying to just bitch out and dodge me or something, like, or maybe it was something with his wife. I don't. Maybe it was a family thing, because I know his wife has MS, and they've been kind of struggling with that. So I hope it wasn't anything like that. But the fight's on now, so his ass is mine.
Are you glad though it's still on a pay-per-view and in front of fans? Because that would have sucked if you were at the 271 card and then they just put you on an Apex event.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. So I've been in the UFC since 2012. The first UFC I ever fought on was 173. So when this fight got canceled, they put me on 273. I was like, okay, 100 UFCs later, this is mine. So when they said that, I was all for it. Honestly, I was all for it. The coincidence of that was a good sign for me.
And with the 2 months extra, like how much of a benefit is that to you, where you can just start training even more wrestling than you already were for him?
Yeah, it actually helped me a lot, because I was honestly ready for him in February. But he honestly just gave me more time. He gave me more time to train for him, which is bad because I'm still getting better as a fighter. I'm 39 years old, but if you see my fight against Miller and then my fight against Hubbard, there's a big improvement in my game. And I've only been at Factory X for a few months before that fight, right? So in this fight, you're gonna see a little more of the things that I've been working on, and how much better I've gone since that fight as well.
Have you watched his fight against Hubbard to kind of see how he fought him, just because that was obviously your last fight?
Yeah, no, not yet, actually. I'm going to start actually watching film on him now. I don't really watch too much film on him ahead of time. I usually watch the film like the last month because I don't like to get too far into like their game and whatnot, right? Like I focus on me, my strengths, and then I watch them, I study them, and then I look for holes that I'm going to expose, right? So that's what I do. So I haven't really looked at it yet, but I imagine honestly he'd fight me a lot like he fought Hubbard because me and Hubbard are very similar styles. I move a lot more than Hubbard, right? Hubbard's a little more stationary than I am, but we're very similar in that aspect. So I think he'd fight me honestly just like Hubbard, but I'm really expecting him just to fight me like Gregor did, just not even throw a fucking punch and just try to wrestle me the whole time, right? Because there's no way he's gonna want to. He's not going to want to get hit by these hands. I'm gonna guarantee him that. So I think that's what it is.
Is this a fight sort of like to kind of get redemption and like shut a lot of people up after the Gregor fight that you can beat these top like elite level wrestlers?
Yeah, honestly, a little bit because the Gregor fight was a big opportunity for me, right? And I kind of choked. I mean, I choked on the opportunity, right? And so this time, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going out there and I'm going to fucking ruin this guy, man. And I'm not going to feel the way I felt after that Gregor fight again. He better fucking kill me because there's no way I'm going to allow that to happen in this fight.
With this one, like stylistically, like I imagine for you, it's just the longer it stays standing, the better for you.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, his hands are like amateur, right? So his striking's not really there, but he's got that wrestling. You know, he's a Greco Olympian, so that's the thing that I'm more I'm focused on stopping that and just making him fight my fight, which is a striking game, right? Because I'll beat him there. I'll beat him on the feet every 10 out of 10 times. But a really cool thing that I have over here at Factory X is I actually have a couple guys who are like Olympic material Greco wrestlers that have actually competed against Madsen, right? And are I have one guy in my gym that's honestly a spitting image of him. So I've been he's been my main training partner. And if they're that much of a spitting image, Madsen's in for a really shitty night, a fast, shitty night.
That first takedown, like how important is that? I imagine if you stuff it, your confidence only goes up and his starts to like dwindle a little.
Oh yeah, of course. And yeah, you know what? He's a different kind of wrestler, right? Like he's an upper body wrestler, which is actually kind of like, I don't want to say, I don't know. He's an upper body wrestler, which my first loss was against the Greco guy, right? I just got my ass kicked that fight, but I've been really focusing a lot on that. And so he's just, I mean, to me, he's just kind of like he's a specialist, right? He has his wrestling and that's it. And so that's really all you have to worry about stopping to me. Like once I stop his wrestling, there's really nothing else that I have to worry about from him because that's his only threat to me is his wrestling. I'm not afraid of his hands. I'm not afraid of his strike. I'm not afraid of him knocking me out, right? If he knocks me out, he knocks me out, but I'm not afraid of it, right? I don't think he has the ability to knock me out. So it's mainly just that. I think it's just going to be that kind of game where I have to stop his wrestling. And yeah, when I stop his wrestling, you're going to see his face go from happy to what the fuck am I going to do, right? And I'm excited to see that face come out of him.
Oh, what you make of his last fight? Because it was a super close fight against Guida, and I know a lot of people thought Guida won it.
Yeah, I don't think he won that fight. But you can't trust the judges, so he got the win. You know what I mean? But yeah, we actually fought on the same card, so we were in the same dressing room too, which I thought was kind of funny. And then also I found out that he actually trained at Factory X for a little bit. He trained at Factory X for a little bit before me, and then he left, and then came back, and then ended up in Vegas. Like I don't know what his relationship with Mark or the other coaches or Factory X was, but I know he did train there for a little bit. He got some time with the guys, and then it was short lived, right? And I don't know what it was, but I just want to beat this dude's ass.
A lot of good bodies at Factory X. This is like second camp. I'm trying to remember. I think this is your second full one, right?
Yeah, it's my second full camp. Yeah.
So who are kind of the guys you're working with for this one? Like same guys the last one, or a bit different, just because you're fighting more of a wrestler again?
The same, but a little different, right? So I have a couple guys. So Alex Hernandez is one of my main training partners. I've been working a lot of wrestling with him, a lot of little things. Colin Anglin is a really good wrestler. I'm wrestling with him. Jacoby Jones, who is a really good Greco and freestyle wrestler. And then we have another guy, Nick Tarpley, who's, like I said, that's the guy that's a spitting image of basically of Madsen. And he's got Olympic level Greco, right? And it's not to say sometimes he gets the better of me, but it's getting farther and farther when he does do that. So I'm definitely getting making big strides in my wrestling. My wrestling's looking really good. My mixture of wrestling and striking is looking really good. So I'm just stoked. But like those are my main training partners, and they've really helped me a lot, invested a lot of time in me, in us actually, as far as that goes. But yeah, it's mainly just those dudes, you know.
You keep it standing. Like he's a guy where we haven't really seen him take a whole lot of punishment, and you never know what he's gonna react if he starts getting hit a lot. It's like this is a fight you think you can probably get that stoppage in.
Oh yeah, you're gonna find out April 9th how he reacts when he gets hit, because that motherfucker's getting hit, dude. There's no way he's not gonna get hit.
Is more of the game plan for this one like just punches, like don't let him really get to your legs, but then at the same time, like he goes for those like locks around your waist. So he's not really a guy that shoots for your legs.
Yeah, he's not really a guy that shoots for legs, so I'm not too worried about that. And without giving up too much, as far as my game plan, I'm gonna be throwing kicks. I'm not gonna be afraid to throw kicks at him. So he's got. I feel like he's honestly got more to worry about in this fight than I do. All I really have to worry about is wrestling and just getting smothered down, where he's got to worry about getting his fucking head knocked off, you know? So I think the fight's a little scarier for him than it is for me.
Yeah, that's something that when Tim Elliott fought like at 272, I was talking to him and he kind of brought up something similar where he's like, what's the worst that happens when he was fighting one of Habib's guys? He's like, I just lay on my back for 15 minutes. I don't take any damage.
Basically.
Is that like, does that basically help you in the fight where you're not stressing about getting knocked out? Like the worst thing is you just get held down for 15 minutes?
A little bit, yeah, because I mean, shit, if I'm fighting a guy like, for instance, when I fought Jim Miller, I fought Austin Hubbard, I have to worry about their striking and their grappling, you know? So it's more for me to worry about in the fight in that aspect. And it's not that, like I said, it's not like he can't knock me out, right? Because if he catches me, I'm sure he'd be able to hurt me and do something like that. But I just don't see his level of striking even comparing to me when I'm in there. And he's gonna have a really hard. I just feel like he's gonna have a really hard time with it, man.
What do you think a win, especially if you finish him, does for you? Like you take his, he's pretty hyped up because he's like an Olympic silver medalist. Like that probably has to shoot you up the rankings a bit.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, I'm not really too like into the rankings or the popularity contest of that shit, because I know who I am as a person and as a fighter, right? And I know a lot of these guys think twice about accepting a fight from me. So I know definitely beating him will propel me a little bit. But I mean, who's he fought in the UFC? He's fought Guida, right? That's literally the only guy he's fought. Well, Austin Hubbard and Guida, and I don't even know the guy he fought before Hubbard, right? But those are literally his 3 fights in the UFC. So I feel like I'm a good competition for him, and he's a good competition for me. I just feel like I have more experience in fighting than he does, and that's going to play out in the fight.
And you've been in like these bad situations before and you kind of know how to get out of them, where for him, like he's never experienced getting dropped or rocked. So is that something too that you think if you can drop him, that kind of can throw him off because he's never done it and doesn't know how to like respond to it?
Yeah, most definitely. I think I'm gonna say this, like I punch like a fucking truck, man. And I know a lot of times I don't knock people out, but when I hit you and it's a solid hit, it changes your mentality. I have that punch that's going to make you think twice about getting hit by me. And so I think that's going to be a really real thing for him. And I don't know. We'll see how he reacts, right? He might just go down. He might get up. He might just take it. You know what I mean? Because, fuck, I kicked Jim Miller straight across his face, and that dude just ate it and then took me down. So who knows? You could be a tough son of a bitch like that, right? And just eat punches. But, you know, shit, we'll see.
And you have a really good gas tank as well, where that's kind of how he beats a lot of those guys. He can just out tire them and out wear them out. Like, is that something you think kind of negates a lot of his game too, is where you're going to be there for 15 hard minutes?
Oh yeah. He's definitely going to gas out fighting against me. Right. I'm going to put so much on him that he's going to be the one gassing, not me. So that was another thing too, that I was thinking about is a couple of the other people told me that he's a gasser, right? He gasses himself out. So I'm kind of, I don't know. It's all just good news, right? I'm trying not to get too confident in the fight where I'm overly confident, but I'm confident that I'm gonna put this dude out.
A bigger octagon too with the pay-per-view. Like, is that a big benefit where you have more room to move and it's not so close to the fence?
It's a benefit that I get to be free in my movement, but it's not a benefit because he can run for me a little bit too, you know?
If you get the win here and a stoppage win, like, do you really have anyone you want next, or is it just whoever the UFC offers you would just kind of start racking up these fights again?
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. I'm not really thinking ahead of him. I'm just like, I'm going to beat him and then see who's available. And then I'm going to be like, okay, this guy will propel me. I want to take this guy, right? I'll have a talk with Shelby and manager Jason, and we'll do that. But honestly, I'm not really even thinking about the next opponent. If I'm honest, the people I really want to beat up are these fucking corrupt ass politicians, man. Like, those are the people I want to beat the fuck out of. Like, I for sure want to kick the shit out of every single one of them. All these fucking Joe Bidens, these Nancy Pelosi's, right? Like, I want to beat the fuck out of these corrupt pieces of shit that pretend like they're doing the best for us, but they're really just doing the best for their own wallet. You know what I mean? Those are the people I really want to beat the hell out of. But as far as fighters, I mean, I'm gonna start Madsen. I'm gonna see who's next, and then we're gonna go from there, man.
I know we've talked about it in the past, but that Gregory match, that's still one you want to get back sometime down the line.
Yeah, I would definitely get that back. I definitely would want to get that back, but I don't think he's going to take that fight. I don't think he would accept that fight unless it's like a top contender fighter, maybe even for a title shot again, right? And then, shit, my embarrassing better be on point because he's just going to wrestle me the whole time. He's for sure not going to trash talk with me. He's going to fight me the same way he did the first time. I'm guaranteed.
Are you hoping, though, like, keep putting you on these pay-per-views? Like, it's going to be hard to get back in front of the Apex after experiencing the crowd.
No, man, I don't care. I grew up fighting with no crowd, so you know what I mean? And I'm the kind of person that if I have a problem with someone, I take them to the side, and it's just between me and you. So I love the intimacy of the Apex, but there's nothing like that roar of the crowd either.
Well, the last time we did an interview too, you were saying a bunch of those street stories you had, and a lot of people were enjoying them. You told the one where it was like a huge brawl, and you were having baseball bats and all that kind of
You're
stuff.
frozen.
Oh, good now or no? Oh, I lost you.
I still got internet.
Oh,
hello?
There you go. I got you back.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
I was just saying, last time we did the interview, you were explaining some of those street fight stories you've been in. A lot of people enjoyed those, so it's not a surprise you'd take them out back.
Yeah, but that's just me, man. Like, I just had a different life, right? My life lessons I learned in the street in real life, so that's just me. But that's worked me and shaped me into the person I am today, you know. But it's good to hear that people like that kind of stuff, and I don't know. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I look back at what the things I've gone through and been through and done, and I'm like, damn, what a fucking wild son of a bitch you were, man.
Last thing, I know you've obviously mentioned you're 39, but you took a lot of years off just after kind of all the injuries and all that. So are you still feeling pretty fresh in there? Like, I know most 39-year-olds are lightweight are already thinking about retiring, but your body hasn't really been through a whole lot of those fight years. So do you still think you have a couple of years left in you?
Oh yeah, I got more than a couple of years in me, man. Like, I'm feeling really good, and it's not that I don't have little injuries here and there, because I do, right? But it's nothing that keeps me out of training now. I've been since I came out here to Factory X, I've been really focusing on doing physical therapy and recovering and taking care of my body and making sure that my old ass can go to the gym in the morning, man. You know, so every day after practice, we practice 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I lift. The other days of the week, I go and do physical therapy, or I get worked on, or I do a lot of active recovery and self-care on the other end of it now. So that's kept me really in the gym, honestly, every day. And shit, look at this fight. You're getting a fight, every more than once a year now out of me, huh?
Yeah.
That fight went last August. So, I mean, technically it's still once a year fight, but I get potentially, if I beat this guy and I don't have any issues, I'm gonna fight again this year. I'm gonna try to get another fight in, at least one more.
Oh, well, Vince, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, Sheldon. I appreciate you, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah. All right, we're joined by Jared Vanderaa, who's taking a short notice fight at UFC 273. Jared, how's it going, man?
Doing all right. Just getting caught up with the ADCC trials. I have two teammates competing for the quarterfinals. So yeah, just been keeping up with those guys.
Short notice fight. How did this one come together?
It kind of popped up. I don't know. I felt like I was going to be fighting Lexington Linux soon. Maybe it's because my coach Joe Daddy Stevenson just kept on bringing it up every other weekend, it seemed like, and so it was just bound to happen, you know.
Oh, your last fight too. What do you take away from that? Like a split decision, very close fight against Arlovsky.
One of the things is just kind of not like I think I was trying to hold my more for the third round, and I think I've been a lot more cautious in my fights ever since I joined the UFC. I've been very cautious and second guessing my abilities. I've never once questioned my skills, but once I got in the UFC, that immediately went out the door. Like I started questioning fucking everything. Like, oh, my wrestling's not that good. Oh, my jiu-jitsu's not that good. Oh, this and oh that. And then I'm just like, fucking why have I questioned myself? Why have I, questioned my abilities? And even then, like with the whole thing with Orlovsky, I was like, I questioned my ability to take him down, which I don't know why. Like I questioned my ability to control him, and and just watching it just really pissed me off. I'm like, fuck, it's like this guy I could have maybe taken down, or and that's all I might have needed to win a round. Like I just needed to win one round in two more judges' eyes, then I would have won the fight. And yeah, that's something I've realized. That's like I need to work on just being able to just say fuck it and go for it. And I know I do better with the short-term turnovers. That I'm a lot more confident because I don't get time to second guess myself. I don't get time to question my abilities. I just have to go. And like right now, like it feels good knowing that I have like I said, two teammates in the quarterfinals of the ADCC trials. I mean, for people that don't know, that's like the top grappling event. And so knowing that I could jump on those people, I've submitted a few of them. To know that I can hang with those guys, knowing how far in the ranks that they are now, I'm just like, yo, why can't I just turn that into my MMA career? So, and honestly, I think, a lot of people are like, don't go to the ground with Lexi. Don't go. I'm like, fuck it. Let's go to the ground. Let's try to choke each other out. So I'm not saying you'll see me pull guard. It'll be a cold day in hell before you see me ever pull guard. But if we go to the ground, I'm not going to just be like, oh no, we're on the ground, like I have before. And a lot of it's mental for me. A lot of it's just a lot of doubt. A lot of like, oh, I question my abilities. Fuck it. I'm going to try to choke him if we give him the opportunity. And I know he's going to try to choke me. All right? Like, should be walking out to Wu-Tang Protection going into this fight. But I feel like I could win. And I could beat him on the ground also.
And with this one, like, how quickly are you kind of expecting Alexei to like shoot on you? Because I couldn't imagine him wanting to strike with you for too long.
I wouldn't say he would hang out there long. I've noticed he hasn't really shot lately. He's been more or less pulling guard or trying to pull people on top of him. He even did the head and arm and literally just try to link up and fall backwards. He also tried that with Chris Dawkins too. Spivak, I saw Spivak try to take him down, I think twice, and he shot him Spivak. But again, both guys, being grappling heavy oriented people, not surprising.
And I know UFC have a lot of power. Like, I think a lot of people would think if you're going to win this fight, it's going to be by knockout. But you kind of said earlier that you're not going to be scared to go to the ground. Like, is that something that personally you want to do, is test your ground game against his, or you kind of just maybe hoping that a quick knockout happens?
First of all, I've only knocked out one person in my whole career. The rest of them came by TKOs. Like, I've broken people's faces. I've broken bones. I just don't knock people out. I don't have that Francis, Derek Lewis decapitating punch power. Now we could say that with my kicks, that's a whole different argument. But again, I still haven't landed a head kick knockout yet. Lexi might be the first. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I need to knock him out. If I knock him out, cool. And what I do feel like is I'm going to get a TKO first or second round on the ground. If I could wrap him up against the cage or even in the center of the cage and punch his lights out, that's where I honestly think would most likely happen. And honestly, I don't care first, second round, third. I just want to win. Fuck how I win, because let's just win first and foremost. If I happen to win by knockout, cool. Like, I need to solidify myself as a fighter, as a UFC fighter, and hopefully myself as a mainstay. But I need to do that by winning. So that's my main goal right now, is winning. How I win, I don't care. I'll jab my way to a victory in this fight. I don't care. Maybe throw a Hadouken in there, just to spice things up, and occasional calf kick, and call it a day.
And have you re-signed with the UFC? Because I know most contracts run 4 fights, and this is obviously your 5th fight. Or I'm trying to remember, did you get that new deal before the Arlovski fight?
Yes, I re-signed when I took the Azmat.
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
And then they offered me or January 14th, I think it was. And then he pulled out. Then they actually asked me if I would want to fight Orlowski January 14th or something. I said yeah, but then my manager was like, hey, we do this in Houston a month. In a month. I'm like, even better, fuck it. So I have agreed upon 4 short notice fights since the Azmat, or including the Azmat fight. So
Do you think you might be fighting for your job here, just because you never know when you lose 3 in a row in the UFC?
Yes and no. That's kind of why I'm just focusing on winning. But I also know when you work with them, I didn't have to take this fight. It does nothing. It puts me at risk. The fact that I took on a week puts me at risk. But at the same time, the fact that I don't think anyone else wanted to fight it. There's people out there that I talk about being big and bad and big and scary, can't take a short notice fight. And to me, you're not as big and as scary as you think you are, because you can't take a short notice fight. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I mean, I also know a lot of people don't like that mindset. And I get both sides of it. Like, a long camp and get a chance to really hone down and tighten up some things going to a fight. Who knows? But at the same time, this is a good opportunity. The fact that I come in, take a short notice fight, it might be, and if I put on a good show, let's say it's a fucking war, split decision. And let's say it doesn't go my way, because let's be real, judges don't like me. The UFC would be like, yo, this dude could fight. I think they kind of saw that with Orlowski. I went, toe-to-toe with a former champ. And dude's been on for the last, 2 years. So, I mean, it's not like I'm getting chinny Orlowski. I got good Orlowski. I got Orlowski that came to bang. And I hung with him. And a lot of people are like, oh, you won that fight. And of course, other people are like, no, you lost that fight. Hence, split decisions. The downside of the split decision. But I'm not worried about it. I mean, it is something, it does cross my mind, but I also know I'm taking a short notice fight. And honestly, I'm feeling very confident in myself that I'm going to win this fight, to the point where I'm not like, oh my God, I need to worry. I need to go in there, do my thing, call it a night, and get the fuck out.
Just last thing, where do you think a win puts you? Because Olynyk's been a guy that, even though he's on a losing streak, like you look at the 3 guys he's lost to, all in the rankings, like where do you think a win kind of puts you?
I don't know. Because I mean, it's a very hard one to say because, like I always thought Orlowski was a gatekeeper to the top 15, and this is not, dig at him. Like, if he wanted to, I think he could literally try to push himself up into the top 10, given certain circumstances. But at the same time, Lexi Olynyk's just came from the rankings, I want to say like a fight or two ago. So I think if I win, it'll just put me like right, like maybe one more fight with a win could put me in the rankings. At the end of the day, I know if I beat him, I'm just in a better place than I was yesterday.
Well, Jared, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, don't worry about it. Thank you, man.